record on this computer. All right, so I can't mess up. No retakes. Okay, so the mock-up zine. All right, and this is where it gets confusing because I say it's like 6 pages, but it actually ends up being more. But what you want to do when you're home, which you are, is you're going to take 3 sheets of paper. They can be scrapbook paper, like whatever. Okay, put them together like this and just fold it in half. All right, and there's your zine. Ta-da. All right. Now, at this point, you do want to kind of decide, do I want a rectangle or do I want a square? Okay, cut this off if you want a square. Okay, now I have my zine. All right, this will be the roadmap for Photoshop. Okay, so the good thing to do is to label it. Okay, so I'm just going to go and I'm going to write front cover. See that? Front cover. And then on the inside first page, I'm going to write inside cover. Now, what could be there is like a table of contents, or it could just be like a color, you know? That could be where your name goes. All right, it's up to you. And then the very first one, that's page 1. So I'm going to put a little 1 in the corner. Now these two, what pages are these?
2 and 3.
Yes. Okay. So 2 and 3. The next two, 4 or 5. And that's the middle of the zine. Okay. So if you want to like have your spread there, all right. Again, we're kind of imagining like that we are holding this thing in our hand. That's fine. All right. And then the next 2 pages, 6, 7. And now the last one is 8. That's an 8. And now my back is, I'll call it back inside cover. And on the very back is the back cover. Okay, so why do we label these? Because we're good students. But also, we're going to make this into a Photoshop document, okay, to start. So it's much easier if it's labeled, okay? All right, so when I'm making my Photoshop documents, I can see like, oh, okay, that's inside cover, page 1, all right? Because each Photoshop document is going to be 2 pages, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that today. So what do I want with this little mock-up, okay? What do I want to see you guys do? Use this to kind of go through and start planning, okay? So my front cover, my zine is about, I don't know, what is it about? Coffee. Okay, so now I'm just kind of sitting and sketching. I'm brainstorming. Okay, so what's on the cover? How about a coffee cup? Okay. And I'm just going to draw a little coffee cup. You don't have to be a great drawer to do this. See, there's my coffee cup. Okay. What's the title of my zine? My dad used to call coffee nectar of the gods. Nectar of Gods. So that's my zine. Okay. He also called Scotch that, so I'm not sure which one was. All right. So then my inside cover is, what's going to be here? Maybe it's a color. Maybe you get your crayons out or colored pencils and you can add color to it. I'm thinking, well, maybe a table of contents. Okay. And I'll kind of maybe draw some boxes, kind of showing where I want that to be. So I'm just kind of thinking spatially, like, what is going on here? Maybe I get some magazines and like scrap collage it. Okay. I want to see this fully worked out. Okay. So maybe on page 1 is a giant bean. And maybe there's like a little blurb about like where beans come from. All right. That's my coffee bean. I don't know if that really looks right. Okay, and then, I'm thinking, okay, there'll be like a paragraph of text, and then maybe it gets like geometric. I have no idea. Okay, I'm just like kind of drawing shapes right now. All right, but you kind of need to think about how is this going to be structured, and how is this going to translate? Like, again, our idea, what's the spread going to be? Maybe it's a bunch of, it's a coffee plantation. I get some images off, line, a coffee plantation, whatever. Okay. So there's my like spread of a coffee plantation. All right. What's the text? Geographical information. How does the coffee bean like to grow? All those things. This is your chance to kind of sketch it out. And so when you sit down at the computer, you're driving, you're not in first gear, but maybe you're in third and fourth gear. You kind of know what you're going to do. All right. So that's the idea of the template. Okay. This is our roadmap. And I really, I want this fully completed for Tuesday. Okay. It's going to go quick. After Tuesday, when we come back, we got like a week. All right. So you need to have this like realized, and I want to see it. Okay. Even if you're just like, yeah, this is what I did, Mr. Baker, and you're flipping through, that's fine. All right. Okay. So I have my roadmap. Okay. And I'm going to go to Photoshop now. All right. And we can start making the documents. We can go to that. Okay, I got a bunch of stuff open. Sorry. I was showing my work this morning. Okay, so to make this template, all right, so first off, you got to kind of decide what the size is going to be. All right, so on Blackboard, I put like some sizes like 6 by 6, 6 by 8, 6 by 10, whatever you want to do. Now, when we make our Photoshop documents, they're going to be, let me stop the share for a second. They're going to be like this. Okay, so my first Photoshop document is going to be the front cover and the back cover. Okay, so let me go back to the share. So here we go. And file, new. Okay, so again, now I'm going to kind of take apart my mock-up zine, and I'm going to look. Okay, so page, the first one is going to be front cover and back cover. Okay, so this, I'm going to give it a name. Definitely name all these, because part of this project is you're dealing with a lot of files. back cover, front cover, back cover. All right, so inches. So the width is times 2, okay? So if I'm doing a 6 by 10 zine, my width is, what's 6 times 2? Help me out, guys. Thank you. Remember, art major, okay? My height stays the same, 10. Resolution, 250. All right, so there we go. Now I'm going to come back to these, but just I'm going to make them all first. So when I turn the cover and I look at my zine, on the left-hand side is the inside cover, says it right there, and on the first page is 1. Okay, so this file is going to be inside cover and number 1. So Photoshop's cool. It's keeping that thing for me, 12 by 10 at 250. So I'm going to go inside cover, page 1. All right, I'm going to turn the page. The next document is going to be page 2 and 3. Two, 3. Turn the page. File new. Keeps it the same. This is page 4, 5. Turn the page. Almost done. File new. Page 6, 7. Last one, page 8, and the inside back. Oops, spell it right. Okay, I've just done it, okay? I just made all my documents in Photoshop, okay? So now when we're here, what are the things we want to think about, okay? So you can see on my screen, I have the rulers out, okay? Why do I have the rulers out? I always use the rulers, okay? I'm always kind of doing guides and stuff like that. So when I go to the front cover, these are the things I'd like you to kind of do, all right? If you don't use the rulers, go ahead and bring them out, okay? The shortcut is Control-R, all right? So Control-R brings out the rulers, takes them away. View rulers, all right? Now mine is set to inches, okay? So I see 0 to 12. If yours is not set to inches, you can go up to Edit, Preferences, and Units and Rulers, and units are inches. Okay, type, I can use in points, that's fine, okay? But you know, sometimes yours looks different, okay? So make sure you switch to inches there and hit OK. So now with my ruler's out, I can bring out snaps. So I'm going to use the Move tool. I'm just going to hover over here and drag this out to the middle. So now I know, okay? This is my cover, my back cover. All right, so when I'm working, I know what to do, okay? Now, the other annoying part, or not annoying, but the last like little bit of labor we got to do for the layout, just to set it up, okay? So we know, all right, what we're doing. I like to label everything, all right? Now these can be turned off later. So I'm going to click here, and I'm just going to write front cover. All right, and over here, I'm going to write back cover. It says it up here, right? It says it in the title, but I like it here too. All right, again, I'm going to turn these off later. but just so I know as I'm flipping through. And I'm going to do the same thing for each page. I'm going to bring out a snap to the middle. And now what is this? Inside cover, page 1. All right, so I'm going to write inside cover. And then over here, page 1. Now you might want to have page numbers. Okay, that could be something you think about. And again, I'm going to bring out a snap. This is page 2 and 3. Grab my type tool. What is this? Page 2. I already forgot. All right, and then page 4, 5. Again, bring out a snap. So the snap is not going to print or anything. It's there as like an invisible guide. Page 4. And again, these things I will probably turn off in the end, but just as I'm working, like I want to know. Move tool, bring out the snap. T, page, what is this? 6. Page 7. Almost done, guys. Sorry. Bring out the snap. Page 8. And then inside back. There we go. So getting set up is like kind of like just a lot of busy work. But the more clear you are at this point, the clearer your design will kind of flow. Okay? You don't want to get to a point where you're like, you're all lost. You don't have all your pages are all screwed up. Okay? And this is like pretty much how we're going to view them in Crit. Okay? We'll talk about that later. But now I'm like ready. Okay? I know my front cover is here. My back cover is here. Inside cover, page 1, 2, 3. I can look at it quickly and I don't have to think. Page 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back. Okay. Any questions about that? I mean, that's kind of basic Photoshop, but that's our format for setting it up. No questions?
Not yet.
Yay. Okay. All right. So you want to do your paper copy first. Okay. Let's not start in Photoshop. Okay. And then you're going to move into Photoshop. All right. So I was working the other day and I was screwing around. And where did it go? Hang on. I'll just kind of show you. Because I was having fun. Oh, here we go. No. Okay, so this is like a goofy like spread I was like playing around with. So I got this kind of cool like look on the dog that I liked. And so I was just kind of like messing around with some old photographs. But the dog has this like kind of grungy look to it that I liked. And I used the same technique on this photograph, but I did it like a little bit differently. Okay. So this was me just kind of working through thinking about like some ways that we can treat the photograph with the zine. Again, my instincts are always to kind of make it like gritty and weird. Okay. You might not want that, but let me show you how you can kind of make a photograph look like kind of like a washed out watercolor. What's that, Hunter?
It's like a scary looking, like you said.
Oh, the dog, yeah.
Perfect.
And then I was like playing around with the type tool. I stole this font from Julia. This is your folk font. You were like, I was like, oh, I like that. All right, and then I just did some painting. So again, like for me, as if I was gonna approach the zine, I always, like my instinct is always to make it like handmade looking, okay? You might have a different vibe, okay? But let me just kind of show you some things I was doing in here, because I think they were fun, okay? And it's like a little complicated, but not really. So I'm gonna pause for a second. Does anyone wanna like follow along in their Photoshop and like open up something, or do you want to watch? I mean, I am recording this, so I'll have it out for later. Everyone just gonna watch, or Ed, what about you?
I'm good.
I just see it today. It's nice. I like that beard, how it's coming in. That'll be part of the tutorial. Me complimenting Ed's beard.
Right.
All right. Okay, so let me make this like kind of from scratch, and let me just kind of show you. All right. So I will use, this will be my page 2 and 3. There we go. Okay, so like, hey, I'm good to go. All right, I sketched this out in my sketchbook, and now I'm gonna kind of make it. All right, so my source material was like some old photographs I had taken from a trip. Okay, after grad school, I took a 2-week trip, just getting on a bus and traveling around Mexico, and I had a blast. So most of my photographs are from the bus, because that's what I was doing on the bus. All right. So let me open up some of those. So you can see on mine, I have like a paper background. Again, like that's me. You know, I like that like kind of paper feel. So I'm going to bring that in. So open. Where did I put those? Is it under art? Collage. Oh, I'll use this. That'll work. All right, so it's not a piece of paper, but it's a piece of cardboard. That's just my background. I think it's probably huge. Let me just make it smaller. Oh yeah, that's really big. Okay, now let me bring the photos in. I'll show you kind of how to manipulate them. Where'd they go? Where are they? No. Sorry, 1 second. I'll find them. Where they are. Oh, let me see if I have something here. Yeah, my kid. There we go. I'll use these. No. And oh yeah, this is a good one. Okay, so grab a photo, shank bone. I'll use this one. Okay, so this technique again is like to make it kind of like look like kind of watercolory, whatever. So I'm just kind of thinking about that. Control C, I'm going to bring that into here. All right, and then I don't know, where do I want it? Maybe I'll have it like that. And then I'll have another photo. This is like a big shank bone. Control, I don't know what this scene's about, so bear with me. Okay, so this is like my pages. All right, this is page 2. You know, maybe I'll have some text on here. This is page 3. All right. This is kind of bright, so you know what? Like, don't forget about your blend modes. All right, maybe I kind of make it look darker. Like, oh, that looks kind of cool. All right, and then I'll lower it because maybe I want to have text on that. All right, now this one I'm going to make look like kind of watercolory. Okay, so it's like a 2-step process. All right, the first, or it's like a 3-step process, sorry. First thing I'm going to do is make it black and white. So to do that, I'm going to use the channel mixer. All right, because that'll make it way more contrasty than the regular black and white. And the preset is going to be set to black and white with a blue filter. All right. Now, that gets everything, but how do I stop it from getting everything? Any guesses?
Clipping mask.
Yes, clipping mask. All right. And now I'm going to go here and I'm going to make this a smart object. And again, like, guys, this is like me like playing around. So if you want to like modify it in any way, go for it. Okay. So it's a smart object and I'm going to start stacking filters in it like we did kind of like with the line drawing technique. Again, like maybe you bring that back in. Like that could be cool. All right. Maybe that just doesn't become something we do with the still life project. Maybe you modify that technique. So filter, filter gallery. Now the first one, because we're artists, is artistic. All right. And I used watercolor. Again, like maybe you take this in another way. It's up to you. So watercolor, and then what are my settings? 1, and then I want more detail, so I brought this up to 14. Okay, and then I did one more to add some contrast to it. Filter gallery. And I use brush stroke, dark stroke. And my settings for that are the same. Yeah, 2, 5, and 10. Okay. And then I hit okay. All right, now that looks like kind of too much. So what I did with this is I did like a couple of things because I wanted like some of the color back. All right. So it was like kind of a mix to get it like muddy and kind of cool looking. So I'm going to do a technique and it's going to probably break everything and I'll put it back together. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate the photograph of the place here. All right. But when I do that, it's going to break the clipping mask. So just bear with me. All right. Clipping mask broke. And now I'm going to put it back on. All right. Now this one, I'm going to take away the filters. All right. So I can either just turn them off here. All right. And now I'm going to use like the blend modes. And I think I set them both to multiply. All right. And now you can play around with this. Okay. Like maybe like the color one, like maybe that gets lesser. It's up to you. It's like you can play around with the fills. You could play around with the blend modes, like maybe you don't like multiply, maybe you, ooh, overlay looks nice too. Okay, so I get the two of them kind of working together. And then the last like little step is I click on my top one that has like all the filters on it. I'm gonna make a mask and I'm gonna grab my brush Now for this, I used a lot of, they're gone again. My brushes. I hate why they keep disappearing. I used a lot of watercolor brushes. Ugh. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pick a watercolor. Let me try this one. So I'm going to use the mask. So black takes away. Let me just try. Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to lower the opacity of my brush. I'm going to make it bigger. Just trying to add like a little texture in there. I don't
It's the
really.
shortcut to blow it up like that, like you did without scrolling up the size of the brush.
Nick, that is a secret. It's my square bracket keys.
All right.
So I'm just kind of adding a mask to it, you know, to kind of make it look like a little rougher. I don't see it like a ton. I'm trying to find the right brush, but I think you guys get the idea. Here's like a, what's that? Someone said something. The other thing I did was like I made a blank layer, not a clipping mask layer though. And I just like hit it with like a little bit of like white on top. Not like that. But I put some sparkly stuff on it. That's the technical term, sparkly stuff. Salt. Yeah. I don't think that looks very good, but whatever. Okay, so again, like I'm just kind of playing around in Photoshop and I'm thinking about like texture and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Let's see if I can get, oh, that looks kind of cool. All right, just like adding, what do you call it? Like atmosphere. All right, so that's, it doesn't quite, you know, it really depends on the photo because I really like how this came out better. Again, I couldn't find that photo again, but that doesn't look so bad. You know, I would mess with it some more. You know, and the other thing is I could grab my, now I could grab my mixer brush and I could come in here and I could do like a little bit, you know, do a little, whatever I want to do. Okay. So the other thing we want to start thinking about is like text. You know, what are our words going to look like? Are we going to be bold? Is it going to be like more part of, you know? The thing about the type tool is that, you know, with Adobe, like we have access to many fonts. All right. So feel free to explore if you never have like the Adobe fonts. Yesterday, this crashed my computer, so we'll see what happens here. So we have access to Adobe Typekit. And it's really easy to load fonts from here. So for this, you know, I don't know, for this zine, I don't even know what this zine is about. Well, I'll check out the geometric. All right, and you can just go through, find something you like. I'm not seeing anything I like. Oh, this looks good. Perot 1. I've used this before, I think. So I can click on View Family. and then I can activate it. Oops. Activate. Okay, so now when I go back to, you got to hear that. If you don't hear that, then it's not activated. So now I'm going to go find Perot 1. Perot. There it is. And I don't know what this zine's about, but I'll just write shank bone. All right. And then I might play with, get out of there. What is this? Double click on this. Scale, color. Oops. You know, where is it on the page? All that kind of stuff. All right. Sometimes with text, it's easier to like turn off the auto select of the move tool. If I can. I don't know why. I don't know. Think about how it's lining up. Okay. And then, you know, I don't know what I'm saying here. It's shank bone. Okay. So that could be all, you know, part of it, you know. So we want to start thinking about, and we'll talk about it more, but as you're laying it out, you know, think how the text is incorporating itself with the photograph. Is it legible? Is it meant to be legible? Does the text, you know, fit the subject? You know, the font I just picked, I don't really think it does. And I would just like kind of keep going with that then. So I'm going to double click on here. You know, I picked one the other day that I thought was kind of cool. What was it? Oh, you know, Futura always looks nice. I don't know what it was. John Doe, that's what it was. It's like a typewriter font I found. Yeah, that kind of looks a little better. Okay. But then it's like breaking weird. Okay. So again, you know, I'm going to go in here and like maybe, you know, maybe they're spaced out. You know, is that too far now? Does it do what I want? You know, kinda starting to. I'll double click on that. Maybe this one needs to move over. Okay, so now I got like a thing going here. Okay, so think about the spacing. Think about, you know, is white the right color? You know, maybe, you know, I'm a huge proponent of blend modes. Maybe I don't change the color. Maybe I just change the blend mode. You know, but you want to start thinking about like how is the text going to interact on the page. Now I'm kind of interacting with the photograph. Before I was just kind of putting it on top. All right. Any questions about any of that? No. All right, I'm going to stop the recording then. Let's see, how do I do that even? All right, let me stop the share.